Hi, I'm Jan Bielecki and I'm a freelance illustrator, and I've also got experience commissioning illustrators. I think I've always drawn. My parents tell me, like, in kindergarten they would put up my pictures on the walls and stuff. So it's really been like a passion for my whole life. I've never not drawn. And I always thought like, oh, maybe I should do fine art, maybe I should do design. I didn't really realize though that you could just draw for a living until I was, I don't know, maybe my 20s. So I went to comic school, which is in Malmö, where you study comics. We studied comics for 2 years. You learn about the craft, different styles, narration, composition, all of that stuff. I did that for 2 years and made a book as my second year project. So that was one education I had, and then I came to London to study at CSM for 3 years, where I studied graphic design and illustration. When I first graduated, there was a learning curve. I tried to land illustration work. Didn't go as fast as I was hoping, but then kind of on a fluke, I got a job in publishing. So I started to work on book covers. I think having worked in publishing helped me a little bit to start with, to kind of gauge what prices there were, what price ranges, how much things I do might be worth. But even with that, you're always a bit confused and not sure of yourself and the prices you set, I think. So it's great to have a studio with a lot of illustrators, so we can always kind of turn to each other and say, like, how much would you charge for this? You've done something like this. How much did you get? Was that much? Is this a little? It's really good to have illustrators to turn to, even if you've been in publishing and you've hired people. I always kept drawing, but always also tried to make finished artwork that you can put online, that you can get in front of people. And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to work on some of the books that we were publishing in the company. So that was also like a good stepping stone and to beef up my portfolio whilst I was still getting a monthly paycheck. Whilst working, I unfortunately had to turn different projects down, exciting projects that I really wanted to do. So after a few of those, I just said no. And whenever something came in that I really wanted to do, I just said, hold on for a while. And I kind of lined them up. And then I just decided, okay, this is it. I built up the courage, took me a while, handed in my notice. And then I had like work lined up for me. So the first few months, 6 months was kind of sorted. It's almost a compulsion I have to try a different thing on every new project. Like, I get bored very easily. I'm spoiled that way. So whenever I have a new book cover or book, or especially if it's a big project, I always at least add something small, like a different type of texture, a different type of shape, or change up the process. So I like working a bit with a traditional aesthetic or a retro feel. Like, some of my work, I purposefully make it look like screen prints, even though it's all digital. I think this might come from a graphic novel I did a few years back. My first graphic novel called Drift. It was Swedish, and it was drawn in a kind of pastiche of 50s comics. and I just immerse myself in old-time illustration, old-time comics. There's something about printing and overlaying colors that have kind of been in my mind for years. Even before I even started screen printing, I had this sense of how you screen print, and I was kind of building images in my head or on paper or in the computer like screen prints before I even tried it out. So I think I've had that with me for a very long time, and now after screen printing I really learned how it works, and even though I work on the computer solely now, I still think that way. I still build images that way. So I mainly work in kids publishing, kids books, all the way up to teen really. Book covers, middle grade, and I want to get into picture books more. I did a picture book for a French publisher, which was really exciting, loads of color images, so I really want to do more of those. When a client approaches me, I try to figure out what it is, what of my stuff they like the most, and if I'm not sure about it, I will ask them, I will present them maybe a few of my things that I think they might be interested in, and to get a clear sense of what they expect and what they're hoping for. And then, like most illustrators, I'll just sit down and try to come up with something that will excite them, hopefully me as well. Like if you can tick the boxes that, you know, like you're entertained and they're happy, then that's all you can hope for, really. I like to keep surprising myself throughout the process. I don't want to be too specific in the beginning. Maybe if I can get away with it for, say, a print or a book cover, maybe I'll make a composition and show that. Add some grayscale to show depth, but keep as much detail and texture to the last minute so that I can be surprised, they can be surprised. Work I was getting was coming from friends more than anything, more than online portfolios, just building relationships and being hopefully a nice person to be around. I learned early on from sharing a studio with nice people that they seemed to like me, and work started trickling down from more established artists. And I've gone forward trying to do the same to others and just maintaining good relationships, and that seems to be paying off more than any social media feed could. So yeah, as of late I've tried to take some time out of my schedule to work on personal projects, even if it means drinking a little less beer or eating a bit more noodles, because I find to really do the things that get you the most excited, it's worth putting the effort in, the work in to just do that, and hopefully more will come.